I've never been.
Well, probably the same.
Order the regular common council meeting, Monday, October 4th, 7 p.m. Roll call.
Braun, Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Jim Burdick,
Yeah. Next item is pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Confirmation of appropriate meeting notice.
Meeting was noticed on Friday, October 1st at the library, the post office, City Hall, and the city website.
Thank you. Next item is council acceptance of the agenda. On number 9, before we accept this, can we change that 16 to 17? It's right on the resolution itself, but it's not correct here on the agenda.
So what, the resolution number should be 17 dash, okay.
Yes.
Now, it also says 17-21, right?
Yeah, both numbers, yeah. It's just hasn't been laying around for a year, that thing. Might have been done last year with the same number.
It was.
Okay.
It was 1620 and it didn't get changed on the agenda, but it got changed on the resolution.
So you're saying it should be 17-21?
Correct.
Thank you.
So you
Motion to accept as amended.
sorry, Jeff.
Go ahead.
Yeah, you want a second? I'll make a motion to accept,
As amended.
as amended.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Personal appearances, anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on anything that's not on the agenda? Okay, let's move on to the minutes from September 20th.
Motion to accept.
Second.
Any corrections or additions? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Committee reports, Finance Committee, Candy?
Yep, finance met this evening. Motion to approve final change order from RT Fox Contractors, Inc. for the West Rollins Street Improvement Project, which was a decrease of $65,569.16.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve final pay request from RT Fox Contractors for the West Rollins Street Improvement Project in the amount of $86,139.47.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve final change order from Nelson Excavating for the Henderson Street Improvement Project, which was a decrease in the amount of $1,705.90.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve final pay request from Nelson Excavating for the Henderson Street Improvement Project in the amount of $3,192.83.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve bills and payroll in the amount of $293,138.57.
Second?
Any questions on the bills? It is the amended list that's in front of you here tonight. The amendment was the,
Change order.
for
And
Fox.
final, yeah.
For Fox. No questions? Roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve temporary Class B fermented malt beverage and temporary Class B wine license for the American Legion Post 30.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve billing credit for stormwater charges at 407 North Main Street in the amount of $1,660.82.
Second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion to approve amendment to Gravity Racers event packet for October 9th to relocate it to Albion Street / Elm High Drive.
Now second?
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes.
And that's it for finance.
Thank you. Well, Fire District.
Yeah, Fire District Chief is out of town, so he could not make this evening's meeting. Thursday, the board is holding a special working session Thursday, late afternoon at 4:30 to discuss budget and initiatives for 2022, as well as discussion from Chief on ARPA funding. And then our regular monthly board meeting will be the following Monday, or following Thursday, the 14th, I believe is what it is. Yes. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any from the Planning Commission, do we? Took care of them. Anything from personnel?
Oh, yes. Megan. Personnel met again on Wednesday, September 22nd. And I'll just highlight the things that will be discussed going forward with our budgeting process. We agreed to go with the wage study and place employees or place folks at the 25% level within the wage scale, the new wage scale, if they have 10 years of service. We will also, in the near future, be looking at a longevity piece to that, still nothing on that, but that was not going to impact the budget, so we put that aside for a near future meeting. The health insurance for 2022, there's no increase, but we did agree to convert it to a percentage. So the percentage of pay is 7.3%. Employees pay 7.3% for its health insurance. Again, there's no change in what the employees paid, but we converted it to a percentage instead of a flat dollar. So no change in the amount. Also, we agreed to no change. There's no increase or change in the dental insurance for 2022. And we are suggesting, and you'll see this in the budget discussions also, suggesting a 2% cost of living increase. So that's it from Chris now.
Okay,
That's a lot.
Tree Board.
Tree board met today at 5:30. We discussed the trees that we had in the gravel bed. We discussed budget going into next year. A couple of the follow-up items were, we wanted to see the boards that are that were used in the school, how those were being used, and if that seems like that makes sense for us to continue to move forward, which we think it does, but we'd like to get confirmation on that. I think that was, trying to think if there was anything else.
Just the main thing, that the trees for the gravel bed will be going in probably next week, so
Right.
anybody that wants to get a hand of that, there has been in the past, so
And
it's a fun project.
we also did get a very good return on when we reached out to the subdivision behind Piggly Wiggly. We had 28 people take advantage of it, so we thought that was good return there, so.
All right. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, the next one is consider development agreement amendments for Bristol Pines and One Tree subdivision regarding curb.
Page 7 of your packet, the development agreements that we have traditionally used have required curb be installed before any building permits are issued, and building permit includes digging of basements. And the reason we moved to that several years ago was if the curb is installed, we have a much better chance of getting the floor elevations of the homes at the right elevation relative to the curb to make sure you have positive drainage away from the house. So the developers of these two developments, One Tree and Bristol Pines, are asking for a modification to that. And if the curb isn't in when building permits are issued, what we are suggesting is probably even a more foolproof way of they'll have to have a surveyor come out and certify the footing elevation. Because once the footing elevation is correct, then the first floor would be correct, and all of the floor elevations are on those plats. We require they be written on the face of the plans. So we think that having the curb, of course, is very helpful, but it doesn't require anybody actually measure anything. It's just kind of looking at it. So in this instance, the developer understands that if to have this change in the agreement, we're going to make them then have the surveyor come in and certify everything. So we think it'll actually be more foolproof than our other alternative process.
Why are they, excuse me, why are they requesting this? Is it so they can get started a little bit quicker?
That's a
or-
great question. One of the reasons, particularly on the west side development, Bristol Pines, that's duplex condominiums. They plan to build those all without, I don't know how many sales they have, I'm not privy to that information. But what they'd like to do is do the mass grading of the site, which includes the digging of the basements, and then move all the dirt around once, as opposed to putting the curb in and then damaging the curb, because that's ultimately what usually happens, because they drive over the curb when they move all of that dirt around. So from their perspective, it's more efficient because you have a digger there one time as opposed to two, where they can do all their mass grading and move dirt off site or whatever they have to do to balance the site, and not have damage to the curbs. So that's the reason they gave.
I'm just surprised this has never come up before.
In recent
Is it because of the size of what they're
in recent
looking for?
subdivisions, we haven't had anyone, I'll say, build at this speed.
Okay.
Cosgrove subdivision is the one we've been working on for years, and, Don platted a few lots at a time and built a few houses at a time. So
Okay.
there wasn't he wasn't doing any kind of this scale of
Okay.
development.
I have a question, kind of off of that. So the homes that have been built in the town of Fulton, I can't recall, some of those neighborhoods don't have, or.
Probably none of them, I don't know.
None. When they build those homes, do they require what we're talking about here with surveyors?
I don't know the answer to that. I've heard concerns about houses being low in relation to the road, which is something that we try really hard to avoid here. So I did, when in talking with the surveyor who's working for the developer, he mentioned that the city of Evansville has this requirement, which I didn't know. But he said that they require that everything be certified. It may be the floor elevation of the foundation, but it's really too late already by that point. So that's why we said, well, the footing gets certified, then it should be right when we're done. So I don't know the answer to what goes on out there, but we want to make sure that we don't have, drainage back to houses down driveways.
Thank you.
Okay, so what we're doing is, this is an amendment for just their agreement? Or are we going to change city policy?
The only place this is in policy is in development agreements. So as we move forward with other developments, we certainly will consider this. The curb is an all right solution. If the developer is interested in this provision, we think that it costs them more to do this because they have to pay a surveyor to come out to do this. If they're interested in it, it's in our interest to get it as accurate as we can, and this is a better way to do it. So it will be up to you, I guess, to answer your question. You'll get to set
We'll
that
be doing it
policy
further.
each time we do a development agreement.
We'll be doing them, yeah, okay, as we go. Okay, thanks.
Is there anyone that wishes to make a motion to proceed with that?
I'll make a motion that we propose modification of the development agreement for Bristol Pines Conduit as listed 2.06, amended in the staff report. Make sense? Got it? Okay. Is that right?
Did I get a second?
I'll second.
Oh,
And that's for a One Tree subdivision and Bristol Pines, correct?
right, right.
Great, thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Burdick,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item is consider adoption of City of Edgerton Resolution 1721, authorizing the signatory municipality to exceed the levy limit for the Edgerton Fire Protection District.
I'll make a motion to approve.
So,
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Jim Burdick,
yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Tim Shaw,
Yes.
Casey Langen,
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item, discuss 2022 budget.
So there is a one-page capital list in your packet. There's a new one in front of you that has a few minor modifications. We don't have all the revenues, some of the major revenues like highway aids aren't in yet, so we don't have a draft. There is one prepared, we're waiting to fill in those rather large holes that exist right now. But these are the capital items that have been requested. Some of these items, parks and pool in particular, the Parks Committee will meet next Monday, if we can get a quorum, to go over their items. So some of these haven't been through committee yet, but they are out here for your conversation. Many of the larger items you may recognize from the last conversation we had about the next borrowing and the four-year capital plan. Items you may see on there and remember as to be borrowed for the loader, the plow truck, South Main Street, Henry Street, portion of Henry Street being funded by a TIF district hopefully. The East Bolton retaining wall, those are all things that we talked about that were going to be funded by a source other than the 2022 levy. Otherwise, there are various projects on here. The pool, every year, it seems, given its age, it has a few mechanical issues. This year, there aren't any really large ones like we've had in the last 3 or 4 years. You will see some minor modifications to operating accounts, snow operating. It's really hard to predict that number. It's all over the map, but we have consistently been over budget on snow operating, so it's a relatively small increase, but $3,000 increase. The tree program, we had a $5,000 grant this year, so the budget was reduced because we had that extra source of funds. That was a one-year grant, so we're back to where we were, about $11,000 in the tree budget, so that's an increase of $1,500 that's noted there for you. There's a mower in the budget. There's some modifications to the netting at Racetrack Park. The Parks Committee has spent time talking about trying to come up with a better system of protecting spectators, primarily with the netting that's out there. It is very cumbersome and needs to be modified, so that the Parks Committee will be working on that. Last year at budget time, we noted that at City Hall, our copier was in really at the end of its life, and we didn't budget for it because we wanted to keep using it as long as we can, and we probably will still do that, but this year we are budgeting for it because now parts are becoming a problem for it. You'll note a server at City Hall about 6 or 7 years. Every 6 or 7 years, it is now time for a server upgrade at City Hall. I'll note the HVAC controls at the library. We're working on that. We don't know if or what will be required there. As you remember, when we did the new air conditioning units, we spent a lot of time and money on trying to get the controls right, and it appears maybe they weren't quite right. So the city engineer is working on that with the library director to see if we can, what we can do to try to better the system over there. There is a brush grinding number in here. We, at the bottom, under refuse and recycling, that program is still, as you know, we went through a major cleanup of that site and spent a lot of resources last year. Now we're trying to understand if we're gonna need to grind every year or every other year. So at this point, we have $1,000 in the budget to continue to make sure that that pile doesn't become really enormous again. But the controls we put in place with having hours has made a significant difference in what's up there. I guess I'll stop there and maybe answer questions for any of you that have any questions on the specific projects that are here.
Library, revenue, I'm not used to seeing that there, what is that?
That is actually a change that we made in 2019, but I guess somehow in last year's budget, it didn't get noted, but we went fine-free as a library. We no longer collect fines, which makes us more accessible for families that is a barrier for. So that was a policy decision to go fine-free. We've also, like the year that we made that decision, we also reduced our staffing a little bit because we're not staffing, collecting the 25 cents here and there, you know. So this, it's actually not a new change.
But it looks like, is this a credit?
No, it's a reduction in revenue, so it's a,
Oh, I was just reading that wrong then, okay.
Yeah, so
okay.
we collect money for like copies, faxes.
Yeah, okay,
and things
perfect.
like that, so.
I was just reading.
Reduction in operating costs.
well, it's a decrease in, however you want to look at it, it's a reduction in revenue. And there may be, as Kirsten said, an offsetting or at least some reduction in operating cost also, but there is a revenue decrease in your budget. If you were to compare last year to next year to this year, it used to be 12,000, it's gonna be 6,000 next year.
I read that wrong, I wasn't sure, I don't.
Why did you do
Okay, because it looked like it was
Sorry.
positive.
Yeah, you're right. It's not clear. You're right. It is a reduction in revenue.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
know.
it was like operating expenses went down.
Yeah.
Yes, well, it says miscellaneous charge of revenue. I tried to be clear, but was not, obviously.
Gotcha.
So,
But now we know. Under parks, trailer replacement, what is that? Or maybe we'll know more.
trailer up, probably move mowers around, lawn mowers around.
Perfect, thank you.
And it's pretty small, but those council emails.
Oh, there's been a request to have, mostly for open records and record keeping, to have email addresses for all council members. We happen to be at our maximum right now of our contract, so we would need to upgrade our service in order to have email addresses for all council people. There's all kinds of, as you probably read in many of the league publications, a concern about private emails and that those records of the city, and so if everyone has, all elected officials have an email here, then it's an easier way to keep the records.
And the dance floor skate modifications underneath parks?
Yes.
There's question marks, but I know you're still obviously working on the actual dollars.
Yes, the Parks Committee has talked about, and it's a hard thing to budget because it really takes a contractor because it's something, it's a modification of the retaining wall between the hill and the dance floor. And the idea is to try to really beautify that area that has a big fence on top of it now, which the mayor loves those fences.
Chain link fences.
So the idea is to add some terrace seating in to accommodate the hill, to get rid of that fence. And then if we designed it appropriately, it may also work for skateboarding. As, you know, if we designed it the right way with the right kinds of noses on the concrete steps and all of that, so it may satisfy some of the interest in skateboarding in the area. So the Parks Committee is going to talk about that on Monday. I just talked with Candy about it now, but that's the dream. It's just not, it's a very difficult thing to estimate, so it's on my list to try to get done.
We've talked about in the past to redo that area. It's just never had the funds left once we get done here to do so. You don't want to start cutting anything out tonight, do you? Unless it-
This is your budget.
Somebody's absolutely sure they want to get rid of something, this might be the time to do it, but before it goes too far and somebody misses out,
Well,
or add things in.
yeah.
Right, there may be something missing, so let us know if you're thinking of something from your committees.
I almost hate to, just looking at these and seeing some of this stuff, I hate to cross anything out until we know our numbers. Just because these things, I mean, compared to some previous years, there's not a whole lot of foo-foo stuff in here, you know? Not that previous years, it was foo-foo, but, you know, looking,
Okay. Move to the next one.
Well, if there's no more discussion on that, or questions, or motions,
I do have one more real quick
let's
one.
discuss, we can't put motions on that,
No.
can we?
For the police, the desktop computers, did we do 2 of them, replace 2 last year?
Correct.
Or remind me? Okay,
We did, and these are the last 2 that are running with Windows 7, which isn't
Windows 7,
supported.
got it. Okay,
What do the other 2 have?
What's that?
What do the other 2 have for operating system?
Everything except for these 2 are Windows 10.
Well, if there's no more discussion, move on here. Okay, Mayor, all the persons, the staff reports, I have nothing tonight. Anybody have anything they want to bring up?
Well, Dickens Fish Fry is Saturday, so come to the Baron for free fish.
The mini golf hall at the hospitals this week too that we sponsored, so.
oh, good.
I saw the sign as I was driving into that.
So we can go play around and then come down and have some fish. Okay, if somebody wants to jump on number 12 here.
I'll make a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. Discuss and consider development agreement for the property at 210 West Fulton Street. I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Candy Davis,
Yes.
Langen,
Yes.
Shaw,
Yes.
Paul Davis,
Yes.
Burdick,
Yes.
Motion passes.